This is the AEW Dynamite October 16, 2024 full show results video, which takes place at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. The show opens with a dramatic recap of the ending to AEW Wrestle Dream with a Jon Moxley voiceover about how nobody knows what motivates him and he dreams of a land of opportunity. He says the new paradigm is very simple, everyone in AEW works for him now. Adam Cole makes his entrance and gets on the mic, and he asks who's ready for story time and gets a positive response. First and foremost, he loves his boys in the Undisputed Kingdom, but he has to do this on his own. He could go on about his recovery and how he's happy to be back, but people don't want to hear that. They want to hear him talk about the worst human being he's ever met, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. MJF will tell you he broke a promise and destroyed his trust, and trust is an interesting word, and without trust you have nothing, and Adam Cole is lots of things, but he's not stupid, and if you think you should trust a guy like MJF, you're stupid. He runs MJF down for being a phony who can't be trusted and says everyone in the locker room agrees with him. He talks about all the young guys in the locker room and how MJF is setting a bad example and everyone hates him. Everybody knows they're gonna fight, so why not right here and right now in San Jose? Max's music plays, but he doesn't show. Instead, he appears on the Tron having a drink in a nice study somewhere. He says he's learned a lot in his career so far, and Cole has left a hole in him and he'll never be able to trust again. The man he is today isn't his fault, it's Adam's, so he's leaving Cole with his own voice, because he'll never get a match against him, and Cole promises that he's gonna get that match and he'll whip his ass. We get a Chris Jericho interview from Saturday where he talks about feeling vindicated after his loss because he's in the #1 movie in America, and Fozzy is on tour, and he was going to become the Nuve, but Mark Briscoe cheated, so he wants a rematch, and soon. Mark responds, saying Jericho has said a lot of dumb stuff, and he can let that slide, but Chris put his brother's name in his mouth again, and for that he has to pay, and they need to crank up the violence. Next week on Dynamite it'll be a ladder war for the ROH World Championship, but tonight, his boys in FTR are gonna whip Big Bill and the Bad Apple's asses. Then we saw a match between FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, versus the Learning Tree, Big Bill Morrissey and Brian Keith, and the result of this match was FTR defeated the Leaning Tree by pinfall with Shatter Machine on Brian Keith. Post-match, the Outrunners make their entrance and do their thing. Renee Paquette interviews the Acclaimed backstage, and Daddy S goes and gets the car, and the boys talk about how they want more and more. MVP and Shelton Benjamin roll up, and MVP tells them that when they feel like getting serious they should give him a call, but they rebuff his offer. The next match happened between Mercedes Moné versus Queen Aminata for the AEW TBS Championship, and the result of this match was Mercedes Moné defeated Queen Aminata by submission with the Statement Maker, retaining the AEW TBS Championship. Backstage, Private Party confront the Young Bucks demanding another title shot, and Matthew Jackson admits he was wrong about them being a mid-card act, and they gave them one of their hardest title defenses ever, but they're never getting another one. Stokely Hathaway rolls up and says every time he's failed here, no one tells him he deserves another opportunity. He says they should have had him in their corner and they should commit to breaking up if they lose another shot, and everybody knows Isaiah is a single star anyway. Cassidy says if that's what it takes, that's what it takes, while Queen has a dubious look on his face. Back from the commercial, the Elite cut a promo, and Jack Perry says they need to acknowledge that today is special, not just to them, but to the history and creation of AEW, because today is Kenny Omega's birthday, and they wanted to get him something special on his special day. They present a cake and then dump a pile of entrails on it to commemorate his removed intestines due to diverticulitis. Kazuchika Okada wishes him a happy birthday, bitch, and Perry tells him to get well or die, he doesn't care which. The next match happened between the Conglomeration versus the Elite, and the result of this match was the Conglomeration won the match by disqualification when Wheeler Yuta runs in and lands the Buseku knee kick, and referee Rick Knox has no choice but to call it. The Elite head for the hills as the Heel Squad work the Conglomeration over before Jon Moxley arrives, and they beat Orange up, but Top Flight and Action Andretti make the save. Moxley destroys Action with an elbow, and Marina Shaffer blasts Darius Martin with a boot to set up the Death Rider. Dark Order join the fray, running past the Elite and yelling at them for just standing and staring, but they get overwhelmed by Moxley and company as Jack Perry comes to the stage to rescue his buds, and Shaffer hangs Alex Reynolds off the ring post with a belt. John gets on the mic and says if you're involved with All Elite Wrestling you are under attack, and if you don't like what happened on Saturday night and you don't like this, you've got to understand that this is just the cost of doing business. During his speech, Wheeler and Claudio ram Reynolds with the steel steps, and the heels leave, and Daniel Garcia, Private Party, and Christopher Daniels arrive to check on the injured babyfaces. The Elite are interviewed backstage and the Young Bucks say what happened out there isn't their business, and Daniel Garcia confronts them about just letting that go. Perry shoves Garcia, but the Elite just walk and Daniel tells Private Party he's got their back if they've got his, and they all shake on it. The next match happened between Lio Rush versus Shelton Benjamin, and the result of this match was Shelton Benjamin defeated Lio Rush by pinfall with a power slam. Post-match, MVP cuts a promo putting Shelton over for turning Lio into a statement and says he knows Swerve Strickland is watching and he needs to reconsider his position, because what happened to Rush will happen to him. Back from the commercial, Shane Swerve Strickland is interviewed backstage and he says MVP and Shelton are a bunch mids who are mad that his minimum is their max, and coming at the big dog is smart, and he'll fight Benjamin anywhere, anyway, anyhow. Tony Schiavone is in the ring for a press conference and he introduces Don Callis, and Callis makes his entrance flanked by Lance Archer and Brian Cage. Don gets on the mic and holds a press conference about the future of the Don Callis family, and he talks about making a financial arrangement with Jake the Snake Roberts for Lance Archer and says Brian Cage has brought gold to him, and he realizes he needs the tag titles and Brian and Lance are gonna do it for him, but there's more good news coming, and he introduces Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. Takeshita cuts a promo in Japanese before translating, saying he's going to defend the international championship all around the world, and if you want the belt, come and take it. Kyle Fletcher is upset that everyone wants to talk about Will Ospreay when the Don Callis family is having their biggest night in history. You people want to know why he did what he did? Too bad. And Callis ends the press conference because the crowd is being disrespectful and making too much noise. Mariah May is interviewed backstage and demands competition because everyone here is afraid of her, and Anna Jay rolls up and they bicker. Christopher Daniels tries to get between them, Mariah ducks and Daniels eats it and the champion runs away. Jay apologizes to Daniels, and we move on. Back from the commercial, Renee Paquette interviews Ricochet and he gives credit where it's due, and he doesn't remember ever being hit as hard as Takeshita hit him, but despite what Don Callis has to say, he didn't beat both him and Will Ospreay on the same night, he beat Will. Ricochet came here to become champion and Konosuke has cheated him of that twice while he's still undefeated. He says Takeshita is the best in the world, but where he comes from you prove that with your matches, not your words, and he'll be ready to show the entire AEW world why he is out of this world on Collision. We cut to a loading dock where Jon Moxley et al. Are following the beatdown from earlier up by beating a bunch of the same guys up some more before driving off. Evil Uno cuts a fighting mad promo at them and says Dark Order has been here since day one, and Wednesday, the parking lot, Dark Order will give Blackpool a fight, and Top Flight cut a similar promo. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Christian Cage versus Switchblade Jay White. In the end, Switchblade follows it with a corner uppercut and a snap suplex into the turnbuckles, goes on top, Christian shoves him down and lands a diving headbutt. Referee Bryce Remsburg occupied with Kip Sabian, Hangman hits Buckshot right as White has Blade Runner lined up, Christian falls into the cover, and defeated Jay White by pinfall with a lateral press. Christian holds his AEW World Championship contract high as commentary hypes up next week's show when the show goes off the air.